Okay, here's the bee simile in lines 430 through 440 of Book 1 of the Aeneid. This is what we did in class. Once I get my laser pointer, I will start. Okay, so this qualis word starts the simile. Just like, right? A simile is a comparison that uses like or as. So we say, just like the work busies the bees, under the sun, in a new ablative of time when, right, during a new summer through the flowering countryside, when they lead out the full-grown offspring of the race. So we were talking about in class that for apparently that bee offspring, like bee larvae, whatever, they emerge from whatever it is they emerge from, fully grown. If you know anything about bees, maybe that's relevant to you. Or when they pack tight the flowing honeys and they stretch out the cells, right, the honeycombs, with sweet nectar. And here's an interesting little bit of rhyme in Latin. Doesn't happen very frequently. I wrote that this dulci nectare, that's an ablative of means here, because that's the means by which they stretch out the cells. Or when they welcome the pollen, right, the burdens, that's the pollen of those coming. So the drones that have gone out and collected pollen, they come back, and the bees in the hive sort of like get that pollen off of them. Or with a battle line having been made, just like the winds in line 82 made their battle line, they keep away the drones, a lazy swarm. This is in apposition to the Fucos. It's just describing more of the drones. They're a lazy swarm. They keep them away from the literally the stalls, but we would call it a hive. But this is plural. It is referring to like stalls, like horse stalls, but they're little bees. And let me, there we go. Okay. And the toil boils, right? So the opus, the work, literally boils, like a teapot boils. And the honeys, fragrant with time, ablative of description, like they smell, but in a good way. What is that? They are fragrant, maybe. They are redolent. And then Aeneas starts speaking, right? It says, Aeneas says, or said, so he says, "O fortunati," just like he says before, like, "O terqua quaterqua beati," "O soci." He's always starting with like who he's talking to. So he's saying, "O fortunate ones." The fortunate ones are the ones who are building Carthage, right? Whose walls already rise. So he's like kind of jealous that they're already building their city, and like he's fated to build Rome, but not for like years to come. He has to still fight a whole nother war before he can do that. So Aeneas said, and he looks up at the tops of the city. So apparently they've approached in the meantime, while we've been talking about bees, they've approached the city more closely. And he bears himself, having been enclosed in a cloud, a nebula, miraculous to say. Little supine ablative action here. It looks sort of like a little editorial comment from Virgil there. He's sort of like, wow, it's crazy cool, because he's like in a cloud. And so he bears himself through the middle of the Carthaginians, and he kind of mixes, we can assume himself, with the men, the Carthaginian men, and is not seen by anyone. Dative of agent here. So he's sort of like, wow, these people are so cool. I'm so jealous of them. They're already building their city, as he's kind of walking into Carthage. So there you go. There's the bee simile. This comes after the conversation with Aeneas, or with Venus in the woods, and before all of the like crazy actions coming up next.